Our journey takes us from our home in Fredericton, New Brunswick, up the St. John River Valley, along eastern Canada's longest river, the St. John River. This 673-kilometer waterway flows from northern Maine, down through western New Brunswick, and spills out into the Bay of Fundy. The highway that runs along the river is called the Fiddlehead Scenic Drive, marked by roadside fiddlehead signs. Notable landmarks in the area include King's Landing Historic Village, the world's largest axe statue in Nakawik, the world's longest covered bridge in Heartland, as well as many beautiful hiking trails and waterfalls. Waterville, located right next to Heartland's covered bridge, is a small rural community in Carleton County. Historically devoted to farming and lumber, Waterville hasn't strayed far from its roots, with businesses and residents still making use of the area's rich natural resources. Now, it's home to today's subject, Moonshine Creek Distillery.
Hi there, today we're at Moonshine Creek Distillery in Waterville, New Brunswick.
We're going to meet with the co-owners Jeremiah and Josh Clark, get a tour of the distillery, and if we're lucky, maybe even try some moonshine.
My name is Jeremiah Clark. I'm the president and head distiller at Moonshine Creek, and I'm also a co-owner. Moonshine Creek is a micro distillery located in Waterville, New Brunswick that makes primarily moonshine spirits. So these spirits are unfiltered, they're not charcoal filtered to be vodka, so they're not tasteless or odorless, and we focus on using locally sourced ingredients.
My name is Joshua Clark. I'm a co-founder of Moonshine Creek. I would say it's a craft distillery. Started 2 years ago now. In 3 years, 2021, we'll have our own homemade whiskey, so that'll be an interesting thing to have. And we're growing at an astronomical pace, in my opinion, from what I thought we were doing.
My personal inspiration came from reading about the history of Prohibition and temperance within the province, but also my background in the food and beverage industry as a bartender. I think it just naturally evolved into an appreciation or a thirst for knowledge in distilling and led to a career. My family is from this region, and part of the motivations opening the distillery was knowing that I was about to start a family and I wanted to raise my family where I grew up. I couldn't have imagined it any other way.
We try to source as much as we can local, right from the grains, like the sugars are from Spearville Farm, a lot of everything. The maple syrup we get from the local sugaries. We get our molasses from Crosby's, which was a new venture that we've started.
I think New Brunswickers perceive moonshine as being a spirit that would make you go blind. And with some education through our products, I think they see that it has kind of a modern definition, and that is what we make. The modern definition of moonshine is an unfiltered spirit or a semi-filtered spirit. So it generally means that you are not stripping away some of the essential oils that come from the distillation. And it could also mean that when you make a liqueur or a blended spirit, you are leaving sediments from either the juices or the botanicals you use. I believe ours are competitive because we are using locally sourced ingredients, and we generally try to attach a story either through colloquialism or history or just cross-promotion collaborations. Right now we're currently working on collaborations with other heritage companies like Crosby's, and our most recent one is a collaboration with Moosehead Breweries to do a whiskey that would raise money for the food banks of the province. I may be a little biased on this response. I think the most interesting spirit we make is Canadiana. It's a rum alternative that's made from maple sugars as opposed to cane sugars, and it currently doesn't have a common name like a genre because it's innovative. But I do believe that would probably be the most unique and innovative spirit we've made to date.
We think that a Canadiana is an innovative product. It's one of its first of its kind, made it 100% out of maple syrup. We even use reverse osmosis process they use on the water. So everything from start to finish is maple syrup in it besides the yeast that we're using to ferment. Other than that, it's 100% maple syrup. We
wanted to make a spirit that was 100% derived from New Brunswick maple trees, and we achieved that. We currently have 8 types of spirits.
So white pup, apple crumble, double, pink ginny, getting pickled. We've got 2 versions of this. We got one with fiddleheads and one with pickles. And King's County brandy, Canadiana, the chicken bone liqueur.
Let me just get this here for you.
Came clearing the town for your beans and rice. higher percent in the barrel. Carrying brandy.
We're always looking to spot opportunities for market trends and listen to consumers' demands. And so for our spirit lineup, yes, we want to expand on that. And for our building itself and its offerings, we're looking to expand very shortly.
As you can see, it's a pretty tight little place. So yes, the expansion would definitely be a necessity. We're working on getting that funding in place to get it done. But as you know, growing takes money.
To make a spirit, you have to start by fermenting a sugar of some kind. So that could be a sugar that comes from grains, it could come from sugar cane, it could come from maple sugar, it could come from fruit, it could come from potatoes. So anything that even has starches, they can be converted to sugars. So you have to begin by fermenting something. So much like you would ferment to make wine, beer, or mead, you have to start with something like that. And that's just the first part of the process. So generally we're looking for a higher alcohol percentage than you would to make one of those other products like wine, beer, or mead, or cider. So when we go to distill it, there's more alcohol to pull out of it. Our distillation would begin after a 7-day fermentation generally. The distillation requires 2 parts. The first distillation is to remove the alcohol from the mash or the wash. So a mash is when you ferment grains, a wash is when you ferment sugars. So when we pull that alcohol out of there, we're left with, for quick math, say we start with 2,000 liters. After we distill all that once, we get 600 liters of about 40% alcohol. We redistill that 600 liters of 40% alcohol, we get about 250 liters of 94% alcohol. The full process for us generally runs 12 days. So then on day 12, after it's clean, we'll put that 600 liters back in and run it again, which is what we're doing today. And this distillation we call a polishing run. The polishing run is where we're going to make the cuts. So the cuts are known as the heads, the hearts, and the tail. So the heads we don't use because there are too many lingering poisons in it, I guess is our best way to refer to it. They have lower boiling points, so they're going to come out first when we go to distill. Everything here works on boiling things out by the boiling point of that particular liquid, or liquid gas. And then we turn it to vapor, and then we're turning it back to liquid gas. It'll come up over, when you start to boil it, this has a steam jacket. The vapor will rise up, and it'll come over to this condenser. That's where you see it's all cold. So that hot steam hits a really cold tube, and when it hits that tube, it forces it to turn to liquid again, where it will flow down here until it overflows up out of this thing we call the parrot and out here. And we have this so we can kind of keep an eye on the alcohol percentage as it distills. So right now, it's roughly about, it's about 190 proof, so that's almost 95% alcohol we're probably running right there.
No one wants to just drink moonshine. It's very, peel the paint right off your chest, you know? So that's how come they make like apple pie and, you know, cinnamon, strawberry rhubarb, like those are flavors because people say, oh, I just don't want to drink an unaged spirit. Make it taste a little better.
Well, today is a scorching 36 degrees Celsius outside. Luckily for us, Jeremiah made us this delicious ice buttered rum using the Canadiana spiced rum.
It is the perfect summer drink. If you want to find out where you can get some Moonshine Creek Distillery product, you can order it from their official website or find it in stores at NB Liquor. We hope you learned a lot about the distilling process today. See you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.